Good evening, everyone. You are tuned into NECC Rainbow Six Siege Stream B Emergence Division. My name is Binks, and I'm joined by my great friend Corbik. We have a great match coming up for you, and it's going to be MKE Esports taking on Murray State Blue. And it's looking to be a very good match, especially considering it's the new season, Corbik.
It is a new season. A lot of changes coming into effect literally today, Binks. They're literally coming into effect today. Things that will impact gameplay. We'll probably get a chance to talk about some of them later, but we don't want to take away from the event itself. So let's take a look at our rosters here for the day, starting off with our first team, which will be MKE Esports, and their very distinctive team logo. You got to admire the spirit. My guess is that's a Pikachu or it's a horse that's in some serious need of medical treatment, but I don't know which. Anyway, you have Sharkbait7567, Has Hazer or Has 6R. I'm going to go double check. Assured Legend, Danny Destructo, and Roundy. And we have actually seen this team play before, Banks. They put on a pretty good performance last time we had them in the lobby, so it would be a pleasure to see them play again.
Yeah, I really liked them the last time that we saw them, and I think even if we tried to recreate that logo, there's no way to get it to a T. It's just so incredibly
Iconic.
original. And if we go and look at this rosters, like with how they're doing, we have to look at their opponents as well, where we have Murray State Blue, so Curiosity, Travis, I miss them. You're gonna have to help me with that one, Corbett. Eggnog and Oatmeal Boy. And if we look at the degrees of all these players, I think these ones are all over the board: cybersecurity, biochemistry, design and engineering technology, computer science, design engineering technology. So a lot of technology there, but a very big range of different applications of course content, as well as just being able to have unique perspectives on the game. so far. I don't know if we're going to see a Mira next or that Valkyrie. That's what it's feeling like, or the Kaid since the Thatcher's gone. That would be very reminiscent of old Siege. But oh my goodness, there's the Mira. I talked about having a strong backbone or going back to comfort, and I think these players have now reset to default. They forgot to save their settings before the update, and now we're back to our default bans. And any guesses for this last one? You have 3 seconds.
Valk would probably be the one that I would think is a wise choice, but it's not guaranteed.
Oh,
but
what?
Lucy,
That's even older.
That's a
ban.
very interesting ban. That's a very interesting ban. Don't know how I feel about that one. Malusi is not what she once was in terms of her overarching strength. That's not to say that she's not a very strong operator. She has a lot going for her in terms of her general kit. But yeah, she's not what she used to be. I don't know that I would have necessarily put in the ban on Malusi when you do have an operator like Valkyrie on the board. And sure enough, Roundy's going to pick up Valkyrie because, I mean, given the circumstances, why wouldn't she?
Yeah, Valk gives you amazing info. And going back over to that Malusi, I could understand the Malusi ban a long time ago. And actually,
yeah,
if you
back when she was first released.
Yes, and that was a very valid ban on Oregon because you had the long corridor there that you had to dispense not a bullet utility, but like an explosive utility or a Gone 6 to get rid of. That's all changed. Like you can just trigger it and shoot it. It's not that much of a problem, and I don't see Malusi getting picked as a must pick on this map the way you see Valkyrie, for example, especially the combination of Valk and Souls. It's going to be really interesting to see how exactly and we have a basement assault and an interesting lineup from Murray State. Very default, but it seems like they're going to have a lot of capabilities with explosives and taking out any defender utility.
It does. You know, we got obviously new operator in the mix coming out of the patch. Blanca? I can't remember that. I've literally forgotten the name. We were just talking about him, but takes over enemy gadgets. We're not sure if they're actually street legal yet here in the NECC, though, so we won't be seeing one. Instead, we're seeing Danny Destructo's position violated in all of about 2 seconds there in the elbow. Those Rotero drones just coming up and eating their fill, and that is the problem there. If you do not run a mute to back up the elbow placement, the Roteros just make it way too easily. You've obviously, you've got Solus in this lineup here. Banks, a strong operator across the board, very valuable, has kind of stepped up into, I would almost say, a more effective pulse for a lot of teams, a lot of players, and you'll probably be seeing them at work as well. Interesting, by the way, choice on the Roteros. Flores, he's walking in with a DMR. You don't see that.
Did that just blow up the Selma charge? Yes, it did. Oh, unfortunate use of utility there. But yeah, I haven't seen Flores used to open up holes as common, especially when you have a Zofia on the board or even using those somewhat breaching charges. But there's your first blood of the match and make that the second, as 2 players from Murray State are already looking to open up the board. Oatmeal Boy also collecting their own on the Flores. This should open up the avenue to start pushing in, but this also makes MKE Esports very pinched, not having many places to go besides holding their angles that have already been pinched out and been called to the team. Now stuck inside a supply closet is going to be Hazard, and he's going to get the trade to deny the flawless round, but great use of the nade and a very good execute for Murray State.
Yeah, very solid execute by Murray State. They're here to play, obviously. No real hesitation. I think the biggest issue on the side of MKE right there was a relatively passive play style that kind of caught up with them in the end, because they never felt like they were in a position where they were really challenging what their opponents were doing. I mean, honestly, if I wanted to say, I felt like they were kind of having the pace of the game dictated to them, right? And that's never a good situation to be in if you're on the defensive side. You always kind of want to be able to, if not control the tempo, at least contribute to setting the tempo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that the defenders need to make sure that if they're setting things up, did you see any smoke? I know it was the initial pick, but did you see any toxic canisters deployed?
No.
And I think
that's what I mean about tempo, right? Like,
yeah.
same vibe. A gadget that really sets round tempo.
Yeah, and I think on the side of Murray State, it's no secret, Corbett and I absolutely hate going back to the same site. It's not that we hate repetition, it's just the fact that we hate what happens when there is repetition. You get into bad habits, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see if they make the proper adaptations. We see an extension into blue, and we'll see if they actually hold that for an extended period of time. But time management is going to be the key thing here for Murray State. They did a great job with it last round, but they also didn't have to deal with any flaws in their plan. I'd basically call the last round flawless because the last kill came in a trade, and that's fine by me in my books if you get a trade for the final kill, because every single part of your plan went accordingly.
Indeed. They've also made a critical mistake here, which is they have not brought a mute, which pretty much means Oatmeal Boy should be able to destroy this. That's an attempt right there by Assured Legend to kind of play around it. And hey, you know what? Honestly, if they keep trying to chase it with the Roteros, it might actually work. But I feel like they would have solved a lot of their headaches that they're having right here if they had just slapped up a mute instead of this Soulless at the end of the day. Very aggressive positioning from Assured, honestly. I don't know how I necessarily feel about that, especially when you have Ansem basically coming down to potentially cut off that angle. That said, Sharkbait still free on the roam. No Jackal. I don't think they have any idea where that Jaeger is. And sure enough, Travis, the first to fall here. And that, I think, is something that should give pause to the rest of the members of Murray State, because they are definitely vulnerable in the flank and rear.
Yeah, they do have the air jabs that have been set up, but this push is starting to look increasingly one-sided. Two players coming all the way from Big Tower Stairs, two coming from blue. This is a very south side. This Rotero drone still failing to get all the way over, and that was the last Rotero drone. That means the shield inside of blue bunker will stay there for the rest of the round. Assured able to get a single frag onto Asim. And now just waiting for the push in. Gets a second free one. Catching the ace off guard. That's the second one for the Souls. The second new operator gets lit up all the way to a sliver of HP from the DMR wielding Oatmeal Boy on the side of blue bunker. Case is down. Whether they spotted that or not is still out for debate. Meanwhile, Curiosity spraying down Big Tower Stairs, looking to find a frag on what has been a seemingly flawless round thus far from MKE. They'll have to keep training each other out. There's good explosive capabilities from the Souls in the form of impact nades, but there's a lot of things that have to go right. Danny is going to take a bit of damage, but initially get the frag onto Oatmeal, and that makes it a 5v1, all on the backs of the Zofia of Curiosity, who's rotated all the way back to construction site. Swinging around, they're going to look towards electrical, try to find a single frag. They know that they could have a player in almost every single location, including Big Tower Stairs if they heard it. Pushing up, they see the smoke. There goes your flawless round. Great headshot. Now swinging over towards Freezer, but no, not able to win that one out. This is going to be the Valkyrie holding from a very obscure angle next to double door. And I honestly didn't notice that one as they peeked around. So great communication. It's going to be round two, able to secure the round for Murray State.
I think a big difference right there is that, you know, like I was saying, they dictated the tempo a far more effective way. Just the presence of Sharkbait not being caught out on the Jaeger, I think, really slowed things down. And that in turn, I think, pushed them into a position where they didn't feel as comfortable getting hyper aggro like they did in the last map. Add to that, too, I think some genuine misdroning, frankly, all kind of piling together into the fact that that could have been some genuine misdroning. And I think you're looking at a situation in which MSU, I mean, I don't want to say it was their round to lose, but I feel like they could have won that one if they had just pushed a little bit farther forward in terms of, you know, running maybe like, you know, a drone ahead or something, using those Roteros even to scout if you're desperate to give you a little bit of idea of where the defenders were positioned.
I think it comes down to pacing as well. I didn't get a sense of urgency there where we had a lot of stalling out from the attackers. I would have liked to see that aggressive follow-up of util. If you're going to throw an Ace Selma breaching charge in or that Flores drone, you know that you're going to force that Souls to run. So why not have a player right next to the bunker barricade ready to spray down the one place they have to run, which is that blue bunker door. That's a great way to secure a frag and completely turns the round on its head. But we have a different one to focus on as we've gone up to the second floor attics, basically, as we have a two-fronted approach oftentimes where you're going to have a team come towards Big Tower, try to isolate the entire attic, and then maybe have one player go towards master bedroom double window, or kid's bedroom, and just completely split your push to have a bunk push accompanied by an attic push. And it's like squeezing an entire team out of a site. but don't be fooled because you have a lot of choke points, and it's all about how MKE chooses to approach this and make their stand.
Think about how that attic architecture is just insane. What is that attic? Why is it off of the main bed? Like, it's not even off of the bedroom. Anyway, I was just thinking about that.
I've never thought about.
It's wild.
It doesn't.
It's
It doesn't
What's
even
the
connect
point?
to the big tower.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. Could you imagine trying to get around this place? They're like, "Hey, get up in the big tower on guard duty, brother. The Rainbow Six team is a coming." And you'd have to walk all the way through the damn house. Anyway, back to the matter.
You jump out the windows and it would be faster.
You would, but that would be weird. I mean, you're already in a commune that's preparing to stand off with the government, so I think we probably crest a certain weird threshold, but still got to have your dignity, you know? And anyway, speaking of things you got to have good Valkyrie camera placements, and this is a pretty good one here. Beautiful line of sight right down that very oddly designed attic, gives them all the information they need. A little bit of a danger, though, for Roundy. You could get caught out on the camera if they're not careful, and I think they just got clipped a little bit when they tried to swing that one out. That has effectively bottled up Amsim as they try and push in here, and that might mean, too, that you see a slow push here coming from the other side of the point as well.
Looking pretty crazy that they've pushed up this far without the contention. Looking up, Travis is in a very powerful position. That's a huge frag. Meanwhile, they have the assist from their teammates. They're pressuring from every possible conceivable angle. Danny will die to Curiosity from double window, jumping right on in. That is going to be the frost that has gone down of Hazard. Meanwhile, Oatmeal Boy comes in for the swing, and edging is going to push from Attic, and that is the exact pinch we talked about. Korbeck has this entire site collapsed in a matter of 30 seconds.
Yeah, for a little while, it looked like they were going to be held up right there, but you saw kind of the execute come through. It was really effectively done on the side of Murray State. They got the kills that they needed almost simultaneously. And in a late round situation like that, when things are already a little bit tense and there's a lot of pressure already on, very easy for Murray State to just kind of wrap that one up. So good play on them. MKE Esports, again, I felt like they did a pretty good job of containing the initial push, but you are still looking at that issue of tempo just one more time. And when, Roundy is struggling to swing or whatever, that all contributes to the overarching issue of not being able to slow down the Murray State side, or at least put the Murray State side in a position where they feel very uncomfortable. And I think in an ideal world, Binks, you almost would have eaten up either of those flanks, right? You just pick one, you try and take them out on that side, and then you push forward. But we're back at it again, running the same lineup. This is the lineup that they obviously feel very comfortable with. And I do give credit to Roundy. His black eye cameras have been very valuable here, I think, for his team overall. It's just actually acting on the intel that really is the fall down.
I think the problem was, if we looked at that attic push, who was checking the attic cam?
5 seconds left before insertion.
Roundy.
Yeah, Roundy.
Who's going to swing that angle?
It's locate a bomb and defuse it.
Roundy. Roundy was ready inside of attic to swing it and was actively watching, and that's great if you're going to go for the nitro cell. But I think that you have to make sure that you have that joint info, and this could be a very cheeky kill if Curiosity doesn't know what's coming. But no, they'll avoid the dangerous window as they make their way towards the small tower roof and towards master bedroom. And they might have heard the melee holes early on, but I like that there's at least a little bit of a check just before. And if we look all the way around, this is a very spread out hold with 2 players actually on site, 2 players below on the shower side of the entire Oregon map. And I don't know where that final player was, but I'm assuming it's going to be an attic extension or all the way on a rotate towards to master. So really interesting possibilities for this round. And what I need to see from MKE is that they set the pace and they instigate in some ways. And this could work if they go for a well-timed C4 or properly contend with the attackers as they push in through a pressure point such as attic. But the most important thing is, will the defenders pressure this? They do not actively try to sabotage or overswing, because the moment you lose someone on the top floor site, it's really hard to regain.
Yeah, very true. And you can already see the defenders kind of feeling like their angles are being shut off, right? They're being forced back into positions that they don't feel supremely comfortable in. Interesting position from the Valkyrie, by the way, kind of underneath all of this affair over on this side, trying to get up a different set. They're sort of using mute to be the blocker, and that's what Roundy was waiting
Nice.
for. The step forward there into the C4. And this speaks to the kind of coordination that you were talking about, Binks. You said that they had to work together a little bit more. Somebody else has to be watching the camera. It's exactly what happened right there to set up that play. Still, though, good kills coming back the other direction. A lot of pressure coming now from the other flank, so they're not having it all their own. Danny Destructo now starting to take a couple of perspective swings here with the SMG-11. Honestly, this position continuing to look untenable for the Mew. Fortunately, Sharkbait alleviating some of the pressure there with a good swing on Oatmeal Boy.
Yeah, the final two attackers making their way towards double window, trying to find the feet of this Jaeger. They've already been lit up, and this spray might have caught them off guard. But the moment that they know that these two remaining players are here, that could reap absolute destruction, because Danny Destructo looks to be using that big old nitro cell the moment they have the information. But it won't matter, as Assured Legend gets a huge double kill with the P90 as both of them spring the trap jumping in. And that's the beautiful thing about Frost on this site. The moment that it's down below, it is so hard to look both down and to the right. You can't do it, and it's a flick that you have to get. It's, do I get the kill or do I get caught in a frost, man? It's honestly a big moral debate. Let's get philosophical. It's morals.
You're making a moral choice.
You are.
Oh my. I don't know about morals.
Sacrifice myself or sacrifice the player?
Sacrifice myself or sacrifice the player. Sure. Fair. All right.
Either way, you're gonna die, but
yeah, there's anyway. A good round right there, I think, from MKE, and one that I'm sure that they'll be very comfortable with having in the tank, right? I feel like this has been sort of the theme of a lot of their gameplay as well, is that they've done some good work, and then, you know, they do one good round, and then we pop the next round, and it all is kind of reinventing the wheel, as it were. Hopefully not going to be the case this time. I would genuinely like to see them pull something where they can kind of put up two in a row. And, you know, you've played basement a couple of times now, and you should be pretty comfortable with how you want to handle this defense. And, hey, sure enough, you know, you've got Assured Legends playing the mute, which is something that we talked about and something that they need to ensure that elbow defense functions.
Although they didn't take the Flores, curiously enough. I think it's because the Flores didn't work.
Oh, probably because they noticed the mute.
Was there a change? I completely missed the check on that, but yeah, most likely, if there was the mute, they could have also taken the new operator Brava. I don't know how to say the name perfectly yet. I've been calling them Brav. Anyways, going back towards the round, you will have the first initial mute jammer shot out, and I'm curious to see how much utility we're going to have dumped by the side of Murray State pushing towards this basement site. The moment we see a lot of util being expended, are they going to be able to properly take the site control required? Because if they don't, that is where we're going to see MKE Esports absolutely shine in being able to shut down every single one of these players in Murray State, because they won't be able to get into the site, especially consider that you are going for the thermite charge. You're going to have to get a lot more up close and personal. And if you're going for sight, you have the kite on the board, which means you're going to have to time it very well with those charges. Oh my goodness, the stun might actually work. Spraying out, it is going to be the smoke scaring them off. You have the shotgun in hand, the waiting, and no nade to be cooked out. Toxic Babe is going to be sent, and it could even work. It's going to down one. That is the best case scenario for this smoke on a really bad rotate hole. It just seemed like it did not work. Not expecting that one to come out, Corbeck, because that's as lucky as it gets here in Rainbow.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild, honestly, that was successful. I really felt like that they were not going to be able to pull that off. They should have not been stuck in that situation to begin with. Really well executed from Murray State to put them in that spot. Shame that they could not deliver kind of the final blow right there. Looking back at it again, long range gunfight, Sharkbait continuing to tick here. 5-2 on these rounds, doing really well. Assured Legend, though, stepping up to the plate and getting another one. They've been the top 2 kill leaders for the team. And now everything here on MSU, all on the shoulders of Travis, who slow creeps down the freezer stairs, activates the Hell presence. But let's be honest, I think they've got a pretty good idea where Travis is. Maybe not, actually. There was a Jaeger waiting there. He might have sort of slunk off to the side. The Hell presence comes offline, and that means that the footsteps can be heard again.
Oh, you
Misses the clear sight line right there, and there's the Jaeger. A couple of shots going wide. They'll find it eventually. They get the kill. Sharkbait is down, but Travis still has to work his way through two more defenders, and they're both at full health. And Travis, well, it would take nothing but a stiff breeze here to shut down the Nook. 13 seconds left on the clock. Good pre-check on the corner.
Oh,
Mutual
still got the
kill.
trade. Wow.
So, yeah, for pride, Binks, for pride.
Yeah, very much for pride. And that was actually a lot more winnable if we consider that the head was visible. The only reason I suspected it was because we have the outline that we are able to go and see in our spectator mode. We can come out of our high castle and be able to say like, oh, I guess I couldn't be able to see that. But going to our final round in the half, we're going to see one of the tertiary bomb sites for the first time in this matchup. Kitchen and dining hall will be opted for the castle mute combo to start things off. And I'm interested to see, since there's a mute on the board, will we see the Doka be changed out?
Will we see the Doka be changed out? That's a good question. I mean, Oatmeal Boy running the Blackbeard, who quietly has started to show up in more and more games, and I don't really know how I should feel about that.
You should feel like it's going to get six picked. I don't see the point. You can stop one shot, but I think there's better utility you can bring to your team's side, especially on a site like this where, yes, the long angle, unless you're going all the way back with a DMR and playing it like you're Cali, I don't see why you wouldn't just take Cali and just go for those sniping shots. We're going to have the IQ, and if you're wondering why IQ, yes, you can see all the gadgets, but this is a Valkyrie where you have those black eye cams, the mute where you can shoot from above a lot of destructible floor, as well as Jaeger devices, which will most likely be placed in very easy to shoot spots. So it's very reminiscent of any sort of villa site like Kitchen, where the IQ can go above and shoot out all the utility, or go below when it's on a top floor site. So we might be able to see that again next round, but you can see everything getting pinged out, and it will also give you an idea of where are these defenders getting set up. And I think that's a lot of utility that has been forgotten about IQ, where it can shape the entire offense.
Yeah, it does sort of shape the way the office is playing, or the offense is playing right there, not the office. They've got good positioning here, though, because they've already taken small tower, which is essentially, for a lot of teams, that would be the end goal here. They don't have a thermite, though, so they can't actually take full advantage of getting, like, maybe a half breach from this position. But I appreciate what they're trying to do here with this IQ and kind of how they're trying to incorporate it into their overall lineup. What they really need to do, though, is secure complete vertical control. And if they can secure that, hopefully, maybe they can get maybe a grenade kill or something in here to kind of loosen this up a little bit more. But as long as this defense on the top floor remains, I think it's going to be very problematic here. I say that, though, and Sharkbait picks up a kill, and, well, it'll be Amsim who's down first. So the Dokai be out of the equation very early on here.
All right, that's the last thing you want to see as Murray State, because that's one of your number one information gathering tools. You do have Travis, who is going to collect a single frag before having a refrag going on to a separate player. Looking the wrong way, that means Assured is going to get another double kill to their name in this matchup, making them 8-2, an absolutely crazy KD ratio. Now pushing in from small tower is going to be IQ, trying to find little bits of leeway, use the amplified scope to their advantage. Swinging, warning shots being fired out. This means that Sharkbait, not looking to bait themselves or their team, is going to take more of a passive stance in shower corridor. Spraying into shower, not going to have any good finds on that. Eggnog, meanwhile, is actually pushed into showers, looking for a little bit of leeway on this matchup. Pushing into sight. looking for the Valve cam, they'll be able to find it. And this is great information on the side of MKE. They know where one of these players is. And if they swing accordingly, that will be a great frag. Shark bait to find that one. Swinging over from Eagle, going for 1, make that 2. They find the down. This makes it very winnable. 1v2, 15 seconds go. Plant has to be thrown down. Hazard is going for one of the walls. Spray out. It's going to be a shirt to get a 3K on the round and finish the half on top for MKE.
Well, there you go. A good round for MKE on the defense. It wasn't a bad defending half by them at all. They have to be pretty happy walking away with that with a 4-2. I will say, I think that there were moments there where Murray State really found vulnerabilities in MKE's defense and kind of drove a spike through it. And I will admit, I'm a little concerned looking ahead here to the attack, how MKE Esports is going to hold up, right, in the face of whatever Murray State can run on defense. But I'm never one to say, okay, it was only defender advantage until I actually, see a defense in progress, right?
Yeah, it's a very good way to look at it.
To locate and defuse bombs.
Going to the second floor for a initial defense. You get bonus points in my book, actually. I love the second floor because basement has very few. This one you have more of a default setup that you have to go for on an attacking clear, where you have attic and then master bedroom, double wall, and those little variations like double window and emphasis on it. And I think it gives you a good idea of the roles of your attackers. And this is me being very hyper analytical when I play, especially if it's a comp type match. I'm going to be looking and staring right down the barrel. Okay, listen up, team, as the IGL. We have this player and this player. Look out for them on flex or this. If this person is lurking around, or you see this type of operator and you know it's them, look for their duo or their refrag to come from this type of operator. And once you have that mindset that the second floor site will set you up for, it is absolutely perfect. So I know that's me being very nitpicky, Corbic, but it just helps me really paint a picture in my mind, both while watching a game as well as playing.
Yeah, it's a fair nitpick. Everybody's got them, right? You'd be lying if you said otherwise. So, a fair criticism. Interesting, by the way, that Curiosity here on the Alibi on the roam, sort of unmarked with that CX4 Storm in hand. So something that could potentially develop into a bigger problem as the round goes on, unless it's droned out. A lot of focus right now, though, being placed on the bomb site itself and not what surrounds it. And that's always a bit dangerous here if you're on the attacking side, as we saw actually illustrated by Murray State attacks. You leave kind of a fly in the ointment or what have you, and it causes problems down the line. By the way, perfect illustration right there of why you don't actually need Thatcher no more. The Impact EMP being sent out allows for an easy opening of Closet. But again, they've neglected these roamers, and now you have a man in Closet effectively cut off with no way to get him back.
Oh, there. Sorry, I was having a bit of trouble with my microphone, but we are back, and I like this initial flank from Curiosity, and Unnamed has done an absolute great job of displaying it. And we have another moral or philosophical decision: to shoot the air jab or leave it. To be or not to be in this scenario could be the clutch of an absolute lifetime, or the flank of a lifetime, or it could be a player getting flicked on. Great shot by Danny Destructo, destroying the head of top frag Travis on the side of Murray State. Now turning their attention is assured as they made their way into bedroom. Phone calls will ring out, and that's why you need to put your phone on Do Not Disturb, or you might have an unwanted message. Asim able to find Danny Destructo in all of the chaos. Meanwhile, Oatmeal Boy gonna rotate back to play behind bunk bed next to double window. In all this time, this push from Attic has not come into extreme fruition. It's been very, very slow. And now we're gonna have Curiosity continuing to creep back up. We can learn that they did shoot out the air jab initially. Roundy able to take the shot. They made their way up through Attic. So if you're going to have a flank, you're going to need it now. Sprays coming out towards the Attic from Eggnog, playing on the Kaid. 15 seconds to go. Plant will now be successful. Curiosity all the way from the other side of Attic is going to throw. C4 being thrown out, and it's going to deny the plant. Assured goes down, and they just have to hold out for a little bit longer. 8 seconds to go. Double kill for Curiosity. One player left on the side of Shark Bait. You're just having to get around, and not even enough time to get that plant down. Curiosity goes around the bailiff. Great round for the defenders.
Oh, this is exactly what I was talking about, though. Thanks. Look who it was at the tail end who clutched it out. You know, it was the roamers that hadn't been dealt with at
Hmm.
in the earlier in the round. Specifically, it was Curiosity on the alibi, who I mentioned at like the 2-minute 30 mark, right, as being a potential problem. Sure enough, big problem. And that just goes to show you you cannot neglect flanks. You just can't neglect flanks in this day and age. They kind of they got punished for it bigly.
I think also like the moment you hear an air job being destroyed, or maybe they didn't hear it and that could have been the problem. I don't see why there isn't a flank drone to watch. I think that, especially as you have more and more players die, relegating one to just one flank drone, there's never a problem with that. Especially unless you need them watching a different clear flank. That's on an IGL role, and it's not a required. I want to emphasize this: it's not a required thing for an IGL to go and say, "Okay, go and watch this cam." It's more of like getting that sort of mentality of I need to watch this one cam because this is our most likely, and pointing out the most probable flank route and the most detrimental one that they can go for. Moreover, it's also on the two teammates there to call for someone who is dead, saying, "Hey, I need you on my flank cam right now. Tell me the moment they push up so I can be ready."
Right. Yeah, it's fair point. I mean, you kind of have to be like you kind of have to be on the ball, right? Like if you're playing off those flank drones, and I think it was just a bit of a mistake on the side of MKE Esports. The good news is it's correctable, right? Like you can fix that issue. What you can't fix is getting your drone past that mute jammer. But if you do have frag grenades, and you do, I don't know where Danny
Or an
Destructo
EMP.
is. Or an EMP, you can actually take that out. You just have to play a bit of a dangerous game here between the MP7, but I do wonder if that's actually going to lead them to change their pace a little bit.
Oh,
No, they're just going to roll the drone in, and it won't go anywhere. A little bit of an ugly stack up there as well, so they got to be very careful. There's a bulletproof on that wall, too. Banks just feeding information this entire time, and boy, howdy, do they need Danny Destructo with those frag grenades down there instead of up here waiting for Curiosity, who's quite comfortably perched in the attic, attempting, I think, another big late round play like they did last time.
yeah, Curiosity has gotten that little bit of a dopamine rush of clutching up in the very last second, and that's a dangerous thing to have, or it can be the very best thing. And the spray as Curiosity gets another dopamine rush in their head. 6-4 now, as they've been able to shut down the push of the Iana, the intel gathering operator. Roundy, the next 2 contend, swinging around trying to find the alibi, not able to find an initial shot. There's a short magazine really being demonstrated, as they'll have to go for a full reload. And keep in mind, you can't go for a quick reload cancellation anymore. Flash into attic as they're finally allocating enough resources to deal with this alibi. But look at this timer tick tock away as these 2 remaining players inside of Blue Bunker are just looking to make their way in, rushing, trying to make it towards the shield to be able to get the kill onto Hazer into Travis. That means the smoke player has been downed. Jaeger to get the frag, no reinforcements left to get onto the wall. That means it has to be stuck open. Roundy, the final player alive from MKE, and making their way in through laundry. Lots of ease here. Corbeck, sorry, looking for a lot more ease. And Roundy able to find their kill onto Asum. They have not recovered the case, and it won't even matter because Eggnog will be able to find the frag. Almost killed you, Cairo, there. That's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the C and the K that messes with me.
Yeah. Happens to the best of us. But
You still
good
sound, you
round.
sound like you don't forgive me. Just, let me go right. I have to go make a twit longer now. Hold on.
Everything is forgiven. Everything is permitted. No gods, no bastards. NECC. Anyway, not the official position of the NECC.
I'm submitting my formal resignation from NECC.
Yeah, fair.
Calling a caster the wrong name.
Anyway, no gods, no masters here. And there will be no gods, no masters in Meeting Hall Kitchen either. MSU, I mean, they're putting up good attacks here. Or, I'm sorry, they're putting up good defenses here. And this is when I begin to worry a little bit for MKE. I did say, I wasn't immediately going to write off their success on the defense as just pure defender's advantage until I had seen some truck from the side of their attack, and their attacks have been very flat to me. I feel like they haven't really been making the right decisions that they need to. They haven't been in the right positions, and that's the big issue here. And Murray State, for what it's worth, seems very happy to capitalize on what's being given to them by MKE Esports. But I mean, the good news for MKE, right, is it's not buried. You've got still, you're tied up now. You still got rounds to play. You can make things happen. I think it's more they have to adapt their decision making to present a more effective front. Essentially, like I want to see maybe a little bit better kind of maybe IGL calls or a little bit better util usage to really help them out.
Yeah, I see what you mean there. The util, I think timed util is how I would change that just a little bit. I think if you were to have a timed commit where each player can work off the other with exactly how much util they're using, you have two universal abilities at play, Dokkaebi and Lion. Use that phone call, use that Lion. The only counter is going to be that mute of Asim. So Curiosity with what will happen there, and Curiosity also going to be involved in the first engagement of the round, is they've been on a devious roam, if I'm being honest, ever since they got a high, and they're going to catch the Lion jumping down. That's a second down. Roundy also went down early in the round, and I think they fell off the roof, so that should be an easy recover, but Danny Destructo to catch or get caught on the rotate. They weren't even able to find them. I'm mixing up names too now as Travis gets away with murder.
Yeah, feels like it, doesn't it? Brutal.
Curiosity.
Brutal finish right there.
You menace.
Yeah, well, not a lot Assured Legend can really do in this situation, honestly. I mean, you go and you pick up the defuse, and you know your days are numbered. A couple of tippy-tap shots there just to see maybe if they can pull out a kill for Pride, if for nothing else. I just feel like this is not a great situation. Obviously, I don't even need to say it. It's not a great situation on the side of MKE, and one that I don't think they'll be happy about. They could theoretically bury this and just take a little bit of a timeout. I don't think that's really their plan here. That barricade got put back up, as I understand it. Maybe it never got taken down. I'm pretty sure it was, though. That'll allow Assured Legend to pick up the defuser. That means that he's pretty much been given up here. About a minute left in the round, and eventually you're just going to have to make the brave choice and enter. Yeah, sure. Throw a drone in. You never know. I mean, we've seen crazier clutches here, Banks. It's not impossible. It's just unlikely.
First gunfight. Swinging around, looking towards kitchen corridor. Spotted out, and it's not even going to be that one. It's going to be Asim on the mute, waiting next to the Aruni barricade. And that's a perfect sweep, I guess you could say, or a perfect site rotation for Murray State. Really like that one, and I'm really a big fan of the way they've been conducting themselves on defense, and I think the main part has been the lack of a roam clear from MKE and the absolute abuse of Curiosity, really finding those holes and choosing the best angles to sit in to be an absolute nuisance to the attackers.
They've been very aggressive, is what I would go to, I think, for my first kind of like, why have these rounds been going so well? This is something that I talked about when MKE were on the defense. I feel like the aggression that's been coming out of the side of Murray State is more what I was expecting, what you expect to see, I think, from a strong defense. Very up tempo, very much, keeping pressure on your opponents, not really giving them a lot of room to breathe and sort of collect themselves. And so, that's good, right? Now, it's obviously the tempo you want to set, but I do say that I am a little bit worried because it's so easy for teams to sort of adapt to that and take advantage of a team that's kind of biting off more than they can chew. It hasn't happened yet, and I'd be surprised, honestly, if it happened here on this Oregon map. But looking ahead to the future, if they get a good idea of the tempo, then yeah, maybe they could actually catch them a little bit off guard with this stuff.
I'd be interested to see how things will continue to play out. Travis in a very peculiar angle, looking for one, trying to find the second, not find the second headshot. Wow, that is your Ayana off the board. No more immense and infinite droning utility, I guess you could call it, in that case with the Gemini replicator. but the remaining players of MKE left to pick up the pieces on this attack. They only need 2 rounds to guarantee overtime, and 2 rounds can sound like a lot or a little depending on what you've had to deal with previously. And you can see the paranoid nature, the fearfulness to push in. And you have to make sure you're backed up by drone, and the moment you lose a player, that loses a lot of droning capability, especially Ayana. And that's why I was so concerned with that pick, because that is your #1 way to gain intel.
It is your #1 way to gain intel, and I think that's the concern, right? You've lost your Iana now. Roundy, I mean, they're trying to do work, right? They're trying to make it happen, but you just get the feeling the way that this round is going, it's going to take an absolute miracle for them to sort of fully recover on this one. Assured's playing a very dangerous game. I don't think they realize just how long the sightline of their opponents are. So that's something else that they're going to have to be very careful about. And sure enough, there you go. Assured gets picked off. Now you're just down to Hazer and Roundy here as the 2 that are left alive. And I mean, none of them in a primo position to actually really kind of, you know, make a difference. Oatmeal Boy rotating up towards Big Tower. Fortunately, Hazer's got an eye on it, so they might actually be able to pick up a quick kill here, which would, if only for a minute, I feel like make it feel as if the balance was being reset. And there you go. Good solid pickup, good catch on that one, but it's kind of back to business. You still, at the end of the day, are just 2 players stuck in Big Tower, and Roundy taking damage here to push up as well.
Yeah, going to shoot the Mute Jammer, but not the Kaid, so the next player to push in will still have to deal with getting shocked to oblivion. Great double frag from Hazard, and they're going to look for a 3rd, but there's Curiosity making their way up towards Big Tower to finish that one off, and that's a very nice charm that they are rocking. If you could correct me, I don't know what season that's from, but very nice looking.
I don't know either. Never good enough to follow it. So, you know. It's a charm. It's good looking. That's what you need. But it does look like Murray State here, speaking of looking good, they might be the ones who are going to finish this off, given their position here overall on match point. And unfortunately for MKE Esports, they just do not seem to have the tools they need to pick the locks on these defenses, Binks. They just cannot find the answers.
Yeah, it does not seem like they've been able to find the trick for this attacking side. Now we're going to have laundry room for a second time for them to try to correct their mistakes. And that's the great part about this second half. If they win this round, it will be most likely that basement site one final time. So if they can figure out a trick for this Murray State defense and how to crack it, I'm willing to bet that we could see them win it twice in a row. Very interesting stuff from MKE, however. Going for this same sort of lineup, but what is this? Is this the first time that we're going to be able to commentate on the new attacker of Brava? Yeah, I am saying it right, Korvik?
Yeah, I believe you are. Brava is correct. And is being potentially brought out here. So yeah, a very interesting choice. We haven't seen him played at all. Technically, I believe this is legal. For those of you who don't. Yeah, for those of you who don't know what Brava's shtick is, they have a little tank drone thing. You see the little icon right there.
Yes.
There it is. Thank you, Observer. It's got a little weapon on its side, and that basically allows it to fire a little dart. It takes control of and or destroys enemy utility. So, for example, if it had been able to come around that corner there, it might have been able to take control of these black eye cameras. Obviously, that didn't work out this time, but the defense looking pretty solid here from MKE, honestly. They've got a lot of visibility over here into blue, and not a good place to push, I think, if you're on the side of MKE Esports.
Yeah, you have all of this ADSs, although they have been able to take away 2 Toxic Babes. Roundy trying to take control of the Maestro Cam, but great use of the zapping capabilities, and that's why you need to make sure to follow that drone up. Because now Roundy's been reduced to nothing but the Paragun and maybe one more drone that's already been deployed. 2 smoke grenades. You get my point. Not much left going for this character as they've expended all their util and had very little impact on the round.
Yeah, very little impact, I think, is the biggest problem, right? We weren't able to see Brava in action right there, which is frustrating because, you know, it would have maybe helped alleviate some of this pressure on blue, but now you begin to see the shifting in opinions here on the side of the MSU or the MKE attackers, and MSU on the defense, they're just happy to wait. It's careful here, Curiosity. Curiosity just faster on the pure reflex test there compared to Hazer. Nothing else to it. Roundy 2, though, picking up a good kill with the Para. Danny Destructo trying to get the shots in, won't find it. Instead, sort of slips in on the other side. Can't smash that camera. I think they don't know that. Roundy 2 picking up another one with the Para. The Para doing good work right there, but it's shut down by the Alda that swings out. That's Oatmeal Boy savaging the defense or savaging the attack there for a second. Another pick from Dokaibi, but that Alda still firing. This time it's found Danny Destructo. That should leave 2 members of the team here for MKE Esports. Match point for Murray State.
Swing out from Travis, won't be able to catch the ace as he runs right by into blue bunker. 40 seconds to go. Make sure you look the right way. ADS is back up, is able to find the frag, and this looks like we might have an actual round as Oatmeal Boy left with a dangerous amount of health left. Swinging out with the bailiff, not able to find it. Assured as well as Sharkbait will find their respective kills, and they'll be able to take the round, pushing us to the final one in regulation.
Well, there you have it, Binks. Yeah, a good effort there by MKE to cling on. Close run thing. Murray State got to be a little bit frustrated on the backside of that. I would be if I was in their position, right? But they also have to know that they're pretty capable of turning this back around, right? Like they've got to be confident. You know, they got to be sitting on confidence. At the moment, certainly they've earned the right to be confident about their ability to turn this back around and just end this. And the fact that they're going back down to basement, I think that's a bold choice. Again, you've already talked about it, Binks. You and I, neither of us like playing the same bomb site twice. I think we're both pretty opposed to it. So we'll see if that's a decision that pays off here for the defenders, or if they're going to end up facing down and over. It would be, I think, at this stage, pretty unfortunate.
Now I have an interesting pet peeve from the previous round of dealing with Maestro Cams when trying to get in. Why did you take Dokkaebi? You take Dokkaebi to make sure that you have the opponent's location because of their phones, and you make sure that they can't go and access any of their phones. So unless the Maestro was standing on top of a mute jammer, a Dokkaebi call would have rendered both of those Maestro cams as null for a good bit of time, to the point where the drones could have made their way in and hacked both of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's my one bit of pet peeve. No for next time, and it's a new operator, first day getting their hands on potentially. So just a little thing to add to the digest for the players, and if anyone knows a player on the team, just make sure to use Dokkaebi to the fullest extent, because that does have great potential as a global operator. And as we turn our attention back towards this round, we still have the global operator of Lion, and if we do see that MKE clears and pushes up together properly, you should be able to clear out Curiosity and make your way all the way down to site. This is very promising if they keep a steady pace.
Right, but it's keeping the steady pace, right? That's the challenge. I don't think it's impossible for them to do it, but it is definitely the hard part of the attack. And the thing that's been working out very well for them has been their ability to sort of overwhelm the defensive setup with pressure. And they'll want to do that again if they can muster it. The issue is, can they? Amsim, speaking of pressure, already feeling it there, kind of forced to reposition a little bit, and understandably so. There's your first kill coming in. It's Curiosity taking out Danny Destructo. A good kill, though it is worth pointing out, Danny Destructo only 3 in 10 on the round. He's the lowest frag potential of the other members of MKE Esports. So while the util removal is good in this scenario, the gun is probably not the most efficient gun on the board.
Not to mention you also have that small magazine with Ayana, so not to worry. And we don't know if the frags, yes, the frags love the new HUD up above. You can see that the frags died in the pocket. So not the best use. You still have a lot of util. Hazard is able to use those EE1D scans, but they are just not using them, spraying towards shower. We're in the final minute of the round. It seems like there's been at least a little bit of a stall out as this Ying is pushing with the case. They're moving towards the second floor, which is where Curiosity is. 40 seconds. This Alibi gets even one more frag, especially if that's the case, we're going to see match point and one by Murray State and having to go to the second pick. And I do believe MKE did select this map. Travis to find a kill onto Roundy. Meanwhile, upstairs, Asim is able to find the kill onto Assured. That means all 5 players of Murray State are still alive and well. Spray, that will no longer be flawless. Asim will get the refrag onto Hazer. Meanwhile, it's all of them to Shark Bait making their way in through Electric Room into Supply, and it won't even matter as Travis gets the final headshot kill, and Murray State has a great round to finish off Oregon and send them propelling towards a great match victory and Villa.
Yeah, solid end there for the side of MSU. They've got to be happy with that. Murray State, they did great on the defense. They had a game plan, Banks. They knew what they wanted to do, and they did such a good job of executing it. And I think that's the thing that really stands out for me, right? There never felt like there was a particular moment on the defense where MSU felt particularly discombobulated. They were always sort of in control. They were constantly dictating tempo. They knew what they wanted to do, and that I think was the big difference maker right there. That said, I mean, pretty close. Pretty
Yeah.
close across the board, right? The MKE is fighting here. I don't think that we can necessarily go to our next map and be like, okay, well, this is a 2 and done series. Very easy to see this ending up at 3 maps. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Not at all. And I think MKE, you saw at the end that was a great initial roam clear.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it with speed. And when they took control of parts of the map, they still allowed for Curiosity to make their way back up to the second floor. And that completely destroyed the entire roam clear time management without the window. And if you don't have enough pressure on site, you have that many more gun barrels pointed directly at you. And you can't do anything to contend that.
Sure.
And that's why we are where we are now. But on that note, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Me and Corbeck are going to go and splash water in our faces and get ready for a riveting matchup on the Italian countryside of Villa. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to NECC Rainbow Six Siege Tuesday night action. My name is Binks, joined by the lovely Corbeck. Just over there. That's just a fun little mirrored camera moment. We have our two teams of the night of. We have MGK, or not MGK, MKE
That's
taking
a
on
very different
Murray
individual.
State Blue. I
Don't even get me
apologize.
started.
I have an 8:30 that had an 8:30 this morning, and it's really starting to catch up with me, Corbeck. I need to start taking those afternoon naps.
Yeah, clearly. MGK. Oh gosh. Chance for me to shill for What Makes This Song Stink though by Pat Finnerty. Go check it out. Got a video on Emo Girl and it'll change your opinions on things. But anyway, teams here. Let's take a look at our map video, get an idea of where we're going to next. Close run thing. If you were here, you watch it, you know that MKE put up a really good defense. They just couldn't make it happen on the offense. That unfortunately is something that might happen again. You can see the MKE is actually going to start off on the defense here on Villa, a defensively very strong map. My main concern would be that when that side swap happens, they won't be able to take advantage of the kind of map advantage that they get on a successful attacking side. Remember, they went into the attacking side with a 4-2 on Oregon and were not able to close the deal.
Yeah, and if we look at the Villa verticality, we saw that MSU was not afraid to shy away from that vertical play. And I think if we continue to see that, and I'm not going to act like MKE didn't do that. MKE most definitely used the verticality, and we saw the IQ from both sides. We saw great use of cameras. So as we jump into this Villa matchup, what I need to see is through that verticality, you are clearing out the map and you are taking control as the attacker, or trying to maintain strategic control or find the holes in the attacker's clear. So into the ban phase. Any predictions? We saw very basic bans in the first match, but they're starting to get a feel for each other. Do you expect to see anything here, Corbett?
I don't think we should see anything too out of the ordinary. I will say though, in the last ban phase, we did see a rather wild Malusi ban, which I think was the strangest one we saw. So maybe we'll see something a little bit out of pocket like that again. I doubt it. But I guess at the end of the day, we can only sort of wait and see what exactly is going to come out of this. And Jackal, sensible ban. I think Rotero's wouldn't have been out of the question. Take Flores out, but again, they'll kind of default to the old reliable there of Thatcher. Let's see if they stick with the old reliable here. Let's say a Mira on the defensive picks.
I'm totally going Valkyrie. I'm checking the script and oh damn, they changed the script on me. Yeah, it looks like you got one on me there. I'm going to the Valkyrie for this final ban. I don't see MKE letting the Valk slip through. It just seems improbable. Both teams did seem to make good use of it, but I don't think that's the util that we see slip through. Maybe a Meister ban would be. I'm thinking obscure. I'm trying to put myself into their shoes. Maybe an obscure Meister ban. Wow,
that's a weird one.
It's so clearly targeted. Towards Curiosity, but I think that it's better that you leave that sort of. You're the ones that ban Jackal. If you're having trouble to track them, you've shot yourself in your own foot by getting that ban off the board. So if you're so afraid of dealing with it, interesting enough to just try to take the alibi off the board, because it wasn't the alibi utility that was killing you. It was the alibi player with that MX Storm, which was an unamplified gun, which can be recreated with a lot of different players. Sorry, that's a complete rant on my part, but I do think there's better ones. That's not to say that the alibi ban is wrong, because it could work out. It could work absolute wonders if you think if it is possible that their defensive setups relied on that alibi to make rotates and use the bailiff, and now they have to go and change shotgun rotations. But yeah.
Oh no, I agree 100% with what you're saying. I don't think that the alibi was that big of a problem, and anything that you do with the alibi gun, you can do, like you said, with other guns in the kit, right? So it's not foolproof by any stretch of the word. And targeted it may be, but I always feel very conflicted about targeted bans. And yeah, that's one of them. Anyway, probably shouldn't dwell on the subject. It'll work or it won't at the end of the day. And setting up for the defensive side here, you're going to kick Sharkbait out in the roam. This is very similar to what we saw in that Oregon map. I like having Sharkbait kind of out in wild positions where he can potentially cause havoc. The issue, of course, becomes, if he gets caught out early, then we genuinely haven't really seen the team do too well in those scenarios. So it's a bit of a feast or famine play with him out on the other side. And looks like one that might not have a lot of payoff, because Murray State seems very, very focused here on the study side entry.
I don't think, yeah, I just want to make sure, just get a better angle to make sure that that wasn't the only angle they're pushing. Now, if I'm going for a stereotypical clear of planes and games, I want a little bit of pressure from landing area after I've cleared away everything. Maybe I have to make sure that I get that 90 window open, and there we go. I like that Travis is going down below with the grenade, tossing right up. That's two players lit up to a single sliver of HP, and I would argue that that is better than getting the down, because they are now so lit up that it's one shot that will probably send them beyond that downed phase. So great nade usage on the side of the Ayana. And we can now turn our attention more towards what has been cleared, as two players, the Dokkaebi and the Sledge of ASIM and Curiosity, make their way in towards Astronomy. Phone rings do go out. Curiosity knows that there is a player nearby, but do they know where the Jaeger is situated? Now, every single player on the side of MKE has taken damage, but Travis will be the first to fall on the side of Murray State. Curiosity will take a shot at the cam, notifying the Jaeger of his positioning. Spray going on Eggnog, able to find Hazer on the other side, on the southern side towards site. phone call now very prominent. Spray out from the DMR that could assure that the attackers of Murray State get control of the cameras. Meanwhile, Oatmeal Boys made their way to site. Eggnog going for the plant. Spray all the way from the bar side. Toxic Babe being sent out. This Eggnog is going to stick it through as the Toxic Babe is not affecting them completely, but finally they'll breathe in that toxic gas as Assured connects onto the final kill. Assured and Danny Destructor, the two final players, because Curiosity with the nades cooking them in towards the plant. Both the remaining attackers have full health, but there's also good util in the form of a C4 for the defenders trying to get towards the planted defuser. Spray out, that's a double kill for Ace. I'm gonna have to find two now. Is going to be Assured, but nope, there's Curiosity connecting all the way from landing for Murray State to be able to take the first round on their attack.
Well, it was. I mean, you can't ask for much better if you're sitting on the side
Very close.
of.
Very close.
Yeah, you can't ask for much better. I think if you're sitting on the side of Murray State, though, because that's the primary bomb site, and you can see the MKE is gonna go back to it, right? Which is something that I guess we should have expected them to do. They'll be back on the ball. They're not doing big changes to their defensive lineup either. I mean, I think they took
Attackers
out
need
the
to locate and defuse
Maestro.
bombs.
They're adding in a mute. Okay, I mean, maybe they can make some course corrections here. This has been something that MKE Esports has been doing all night long, though, Binks, and I don't think that it has necessarily worked out for them any time that they've. Well, maybe it did once on Basement. I'm trying to think how many times they went back to a defensive site and it actually went their favor. I guess it's happened a couple.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of repeat and try again. And normally that'd be the definition of insanity, to try the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. But they aren't trying the same thing over and over, and I think we've seen multiple times from MKE that they make these little alterations that can oftentimes shift the favor of the round. So we'll see if we see that once again. Oatmeal Boy does end up taking the Kali, an interesting operator to select, especially when there's a Kaid on the board, and so many of these Kaid claws are placed in locations that are unobtainable to the explosive lance that the sniper rifle has.
Yeah, Kali is an interesting choice and one that I honestly am not a huge fan of. I mean, she's maybe a little bit better for hunting Kaid claws than impact EMPs, just because of the radius potential of I believe it's Shiva lances. I want to double check that though. Than the lances, but it's handicapped by her gun, right? Like, and let's be honest, it's cool for trick shots or whatever in the YouTube highlight reels, but when push comes to shove, it's not an easy gun to wield effectively. Which basically means that you're kind of almost playing at a 4v5 at times, right? Which is not ideal.
Yeah, you got a good point there. But you can also just, I think we added like a nice little backdrop, like a little for Oatmeal Boy, that they're just going to go absolute. See, I just did it again. I just did it again. The little backdrop, the back music, the background music is all that the Kali needs, and they're going to see a lot of kills absolutely erupt. Meanwhile, Travis is going to find a kill of the roam, and Kali still raining fire from above. Curiosity saying, hey, I want to get in on that action. They'll be able to take out Assured. Meanwhile, Roundy is down on that first floor. Could be going for a potential flank, but they had their phone ringing. And Sharkbait all the way on the other side of Astro. Both these players are not on site, free for the taking. Pushing right on up. Curiosity is going to still get claimed by the C4. Roundy to say, no, I don't want it. You guys having a flawless round. They're going to get a kill of their own, their first in the matchup. Eggnog finally going for the plant. They know they're going to have to look for another player. Roundy looking down, but it is going to be the casing of the holographic reticle to block the site as the Kali collects their second on the round. And I'm telling you, as long as that Kali has like a good, solid backbeat music, they're just going to get kill after kill, and it's all going to be to the beat.
Yeah, right. Clip it and ship it. Get it out there on the internet. See what you can do. Oh man. I mean, 2 rounds now, you lose. This is the gamble. This is the gamble. that you play, right? So this is what happens when you choose to go back to the same site. Now you're going back to trophy statuary. Okay, much better choice, I think, to finally rotate around there. And interesting, by the way, that this is something that we kind of saw
Attackers need
yesterday,
to
or
locate
last
and
time we
defuse
saw
as
this. I
many
think it was
bombs as
last
they
week
can.
here, Binks. Kind of that old school defense again. You don't see a lot of Castle getting played on this site anymore, and the structure that we probably will see them set up with is going to be something very akin to what we used to see way back in yon days. That said, we've actually seen someone like try and
Attackers have
extend
located
the
a bomb.
frost out into that closet. I don't know if you remember that, Binks, but it was
Yes,
absolutely
I
wild.
do.
And I hope that Danny Destructo, was it Danny Destructo who did that?
No,
I don't
no,
think it
no,
was.
no, no.
No,
Oh
let's hope
man,
that he doesn't
don't
try to
don't
do
give me
the
these
same trick.
flashbacks. I don't need a deja vu. I don't need to go into a little bit of a panic attack here. No, they're doing it again. The voices, they don't stop. They just keep on telling me to hold this one angle. But we don't have to worry about that this time, because we're going to see a very big variation and very spread out one for this early round. And just for anyone who is wondering, if we go and look at this entire setup, they haven't opted for the rotation, which makes it clear to me that they don't intend on manifesting any like stern control over bathroom, closet, or even that little cubby area where you have those two windows that would normally be a castle barricaded. It's a very off meta setup is what I'm going to call it, or a variation on a familiar theme. So if I look at it through that lens, I can understand it a lot better. And we also have the Iona down below, and I think it's going to be a matter of, more damage done. I'd like to know how much damage total this Iona has done to the Wamai, and great use to keep them standing still. Nade will be thrown out. Travis will go down, and too bad there's not a Caviar. There's no interrogation, but it's Danny Destructo. Did they shoot them from up above?
I think he did. That was
What a
wild
beautiful
play.
angle. Good awareness. Good awareness. You got
Yeah,
my respect on that one.
Yeah, very much so. Oh, well, every once in a while it works out, and that time it was Travis who got caught on the opposite end of it, though. And here's Curiosity again. They who was targeted by the band, coming in swinging on the Lion right there, puts a couple of shots down range. Oatmeal Boy, though, will not survive. Hazer, the one who gets the kill. Amsim walks the corner slow. Roundy and Amsim into one another. Right there is now Sharkbait shifting position to try and play the long angle. Hazer still very much alive and still very much in this, as are the other two defenders. Sherd trying to take out that camera. I believe it's been probably hacked by the Doke, if I had to guess. Curiosity misses those shots, send them sailing over Sharkbait's head, which is why the manages to win that fight. Won't find Amsim, though, who continues to clean up here with this DMR.
Great refrags back and forward, spraying in the side of walk-in closet. I thought they wouldn't try to control any sort of bathroom, but it looks like Hazer is doing a great job of stopping this push. Meanwhile, Aimsim is pushing their way in. Hazer will fall to the player inside of walk-in, all left up to Assured Legend, taking out the SMG 11. You're gonna have to try to play for these close range engagements. 1v2, 37 seconds to go. You're gonna have the cams on your side. Assured getting lit up to a single sliver of HP and swinging around, not aware of the crossfire that's been established when the Doe could be. That's going to be Murray State taking another round on offense as MKE struggles to get a grip.
Not going well for MKE, not at all. And this is starting to run away from them a little bit here, Binks, if I'm being honest with you, because they needed to have a good defensive half just because of their offensive struggles on Villa. And if they can't, pull out of this tailspin and come up on a 3-3 here at the tail end of this, I really do kind of despair for what would happen if when the side swap. Honestly, I just don't know what they'll be able to do.
Yeah, I'm very curious to what exactly is going to happen with this. MKE showed a lot of great potential in that round. What I would have liked to see is a little bit more emphasis on the trade game when you get to that 2v2. Trying to reposition yourself in a way that the Wamai as well as the Mute can play in a way where one goes down, the other one gets the kill, and you have that isolated 1v1. You have those close angles, possibly a case down, and it's a completely different game. I do like the Valkyrie pick, but the problem is there's been a Dokkaebi every single round, and you have a roamer that is able to completely give up a camera in some case. So these Valkyrie cams are doing a lot less because they're getting countered off. by the Dokkaebi, and especially if you look at that landing one, that's a cam that will now go both ways the moment a ASIM is able to get their hands on it. And they're 5-0, so statistically speaking, they are quite likely to take control of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation too where MKE they've been so close, you know, like on some of these rounds they've been so close. Feels like at any given time they can pull things together, and then just, you know, it never seems to work out at the tail end. I mean, look at how close the last round was. It was, you know, 2-2 right down to the bitter end. Fuse charge into the closet right
What?
there.
What do you
love
hope to
it.
achieve?
Should probably destroy a frost mat, I would assume. But oh, Amsim finds Roundy again. That's the second round now in a row that's
It's Roundy 2 that
Sharkbait,
happens.
though. Yeah, Sharkbait 2 though is hiding. They don't know about Sharkbait in the gun vault. I don't think nobody's picked up on that. So a potential big scale turnaround right there, if they can execute that correctly.
All depends on where the push comes from. Cluster charge being cooked in is going to take out a lot of utility. And here's the nades from down below. First one not going to connect onto anyone. Meanwhile, ASIM is just looking to hack into these cameras, as Roundy will make their team very well aware as they're currently sitting on them from beyond the grave. A minute 30 to go. Eggnog to collect the second kill of the round onto Danny Destructo. Keep in mind, we still have Sharkbait, who's sitting inside of Gunvault waiting to make a big impact. Assured waiting inside a statue will be detected to the Ion off guard. Hazer is going to go down from Curiosity. Meanwhile, the Sharkbait is still going for their flank. Curiosity on a double kill, now making their way back towards site. Trophy is where they're going to make their first frag. Goodbye to Curiosity. The Lion is relegated to the bench for the rest of the round. Sharkbait looking to push right on into statue, but no, Oatmeal Boy is there and the ready, holding a long angle all the way from the Selma breaches on bedroom wall, and that's going to be MSU going up 4-0.
Well, this is about as bad as it can possibly get here for MKE. I don't know how they right the ship at this point, Binks. I just don't know how you do it. They just can't seem to find the answers. They just can't seem to find them. And I mean, it's not that MKE is a bad team per se. It's just that sometimes you get in these situations where it feels like you just can't make any of the right moves. And that seems to be what's happening here, right? Like everything they're trying to do is just not working out. The roamers aren't able to find the kills. The positioning doesn't
Attackers
feel
need to
right.
locate and defuse
It's
bombs.
just rough. It's rough across the board, and it's hard to know what to say to a team when they're in that kind of scenario, right? Except I guess learn what you can from it, right? Like there's lesson to be learned. You're still going to be a mid-table team regardless of the result of this match. And I mean, you know, if we wanted to be more optimistic, hey, there's still time in this one. It's not done yet. And if you can come out really swinging on an attacking half, you can possibly turn this around.
I've really liked Murray State's attacks, and I don't want the fact that I'm a fan of what Murray State is doing on their attacks to take away from the MKE setup on defense. I just want them to be a little bit more proactive with their approach. If they're constantly staying back and allowing themselves to get stuck, that's when we start to run into a little bit of turmoil per se, just with how they push up and go forward. So if you're going on the defensive end, get aggressive, have a bit of fun. We see Oatmeal Boy. Honestly, as they push in, Corbett, I want you to give me a little bit of a backbeat as we can just put ourselves into the eyes of this Cali. The first explosive lance is going to go out, and we have the little beatbox in the background. Just getting ready as Cali just has to find
for the highlight
Assured
video.
Legend. Yeah. Corbett, give me a backdrop as we have Cali pushing.
No,
Just
I'm
me.
not doing that. I'm not doing it. It
Just
might
getting
not
ready,
work
just getting
out,
ready.
actually. I
Danny
don't know how
Destructo,
long
actually.
Bute's going to stand there with the SMG-11 until
You're
the
waiting
cows
for the
come
beat
home.
drop. You're waiting for the beat drop. Just looking for the Cali. No!
There it is.
It's because you didn't do it's your fault. You needed to do the beat drop for them. The beat drop just wasn't there yet. Nomia Boy will fall. Possible revive here, as we know where it came from. Mute does have the C4 if they opt to go for it. Meanwhile, on the the northern side of the map, it is going to be the completely opposite end of the spectrum, as the Dokkaebi is looking to make their way in. And look at I forgot to mention this, the explosive potential that we see here on the side of MKE. Kapkan also had a C4 in their pocket before they went down, as well as the Kaid, Mute, as well as Valk. Wow.
Well, this is a very bad round for MSU. I know.
Wow.
It's all kind of gone off the rails. What the heck happened?
That's that's the first flawless round we see, and MKE made it happen. I think it's like you said, they have the opportunity to flip the switch, and we're now down 4-1. MKE wins this round, and Corbic, I dare to say it, they win this round. We have a matchup on our hands, and we can see this match go just as close, because 2-round differential into the half is nothing.
Wild. I don't know. That's just I don't. Gosh, what a sudden reversal of fortune. I'm still trying to kind of wrap my head around it. I mean, maybe it's because they kind of had already asserted they had already sort of asserted their skills, and they were trying something a little bit different there. But I mean, it didn't look wildly different from some of the other stuff that they've been doing. So odd. Maybe it just suddenly all fell into place for MKE. Sometimes that does happen as well. But hopefully they can pull another one out of the hat here, because they desperately need that 2-4 split to keep themselves in this game, Binks, because you can't go in on a 5-1. That's going to be terrible. So you got to get the 2-4.
Yeah. What I want to see in this final round, it's the first time we see Souls. It's the first time we see this bottom basement approach. I want to see explosions, and I want fireworks all around. Most importantly, I need to see an active sense of understanding and countering your opponent. It can't be lucky positioning. It can't be, I don't want to say lucky misdroning. I'd like to see, if there's a difference, calculated misdroning from Murray State, of knowing what they are and aren't going to clear out and trying to play into those holes. Most importantly, catching them off guard with a frag. Or you can outright win it with a superiority in the actual gunfight. This is one of the things we can see where the IQ is constantly spotting out the soul. So this is Murray State showing that they have the extra adaptation ready to go. And this could easily be demonstrating that these two players are going to keep on canceling each other out. And Murray State, so far, has an extra tick in this round.
They do have an extra tick. They've got to get one of these early kills, frankly. Like, they just have to get an early kill here. I think that's the most important thing for their ability to function in this round. And here's where one could possibly come through. Perfect kill from Roundy. Almost like Danny Destructo baited them. I'm not quite willing to say that, but it worked. Danny Destructo now picking up another one on Curiosity. And this is wild, Banks, because 2 rounds ago, MKE couldn't catch a break on any of these early round gun battles, and now suddenly Murray State is the one that's down 5-3.
Not what you'd expect whatsoever. Wow. And they have a lot to rediscover, and I'm only realizing now that my mind was somewhere else. I was almost positive when I looked at this was on the first floor setup, but I was completely wrong, as it's on the second floor. I don't know how I made such a critical mistake, but I digress, as all of our action has been on this first floor. With a minute to go, we have our man count evened out, and it's all going to come down to the final commitment of Murray State, as they have to clear out Astronomy as well as top of main stairs. Oatmeal Boys made their way in. It looks like they will fire and give away their position. You know, the Jaeger's going to rotate back through to landing. They have to make sure to clear out properly. Assured sitting in a great corner will assure that they have the man advantage going to the final 30 seconds. Eggnog swinging around, Spray not able to find it as Assured collects their second kill in the round. Next, now left up to a 3v1 as Dokkaebi makes their way up the Astronomy stairs. Can go for a spray into the ground, and it's not going to result in any kills as the Kaid starts to swing towards the stairs, led up to a single sliver of HP. And I think we might have seen the mag drop mechanic come into play there, but I am not entirely sure, as we are going to have a 4-2 split as MKE proves they have a stake in this game.
Yeah, and here comes the push from Mam
Operators,
Sim.
you are out of time.
Too late. Too little, too late. So couldn't have done it anyway. Honestly, let's be frank about the whole discussion right there. Even if he had tried his best, but all right, MKE Esports. I mean, you wrench those 2 rounds back. Now your fate is entirely in your hands because it is your turn to take over on the attack, and you're going to have to put up some blistering attack rounds here to level this one out, Binks. I mean, it's something that they weren't able to really do on their last map, and that was their map choice. So you do have to worry about it just a little bit.
Yeah, you got a really good point there. It's MSU doing exactly what they're expected to on this map. You have to make sure you shake it up, shake it off, and shake it up.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
First bomb site of choice is going to be the wonderful Plains and Games. And judging by the fact that we have a Maestro and Mozzie, this seems, and the Valkyrie and the Jaeger with a bulletproof cam, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Kaid go down below for a C4, accompanied by Travis in the form of Mozzie. This feels very info orientated, and we are going to see Zero. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we've had some changes to
10
Zero,
seconds
but
remaining.
we're not going to get to see them.
No,
Thanks,
we're
Hazard.
not.
You're really
5
helping
seconds
me
left
out
before
today.
insertion.
Just killing me with my. I was so happy to
Must
talk about
locate
something
and defuse
new.
the bomb.
Shut me down.
Yeah. Oh, well. It's okay. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about him later on. And, well, that's not a
okay.
good start right there. Beautiful headshot by Oatmeal Boy. Sets it up perfectly and just slaps Sharkbait right back to the respawn timer. Grim stuff there to start the rounds here for MKE Esports. Can't be doing much in the chat for the game either. That has to have put Sharkbait right up a wall.
Yeah, you never like to see that one, especially as a player like Dokeby, where you can't have even much of an influence on the round. You need to be there and present. I digress, though, as we have a little bit of Cade tricking. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go. The push from the side of MKE. They've only started getting into the site, and nope, there's currently no players from MKE in the building. I am stand corrected, as Danny Destructo has made their way into the study side of things, and still getting zapped from that Maestro cam. Meanwhile, down below, Hazer is going to be able to take out Travis. That is the roaming Mozzie. Just doing absolute damage is this Maestro Evil Eye. Assured is going to take a decent chunk of damage, but refrags to even the man count out, taking out a Sim. We have a lot of potential here, Korvik, if they are able to secure study and get a wall open with the Ace Selma breaching charges. That could make a big difference, as you could have the ping, you could have a player go down below, lots of different options. But if Assured goes down before that, we won't be able to see it. Push up from the stairs. Omiya is able to find one, but refragged by Assured. And if you even hit that wall one more time, Assured, you're going to be down and on the ground. If you're hit by a Maestro Evil Eye Zap, you are on the ground. If you get hit by anything, if I go and yell too loud, you might fall to the ground from that gust of wind. We're really looking to this sledge now to clutch out this round for MKE. They have a lot of utility in their pocket. They're going to have to find all the util, make sure that they're not spotted going to the site. And that's going to be very difficult considering how many players are left. 40 seconds. They have good time. Drones are being sent in from the side of MKE. And it's just all going to be about how these players clear out their respective ones. Spraying behind bar. No player there to find as they'll swing out the right time. Kaid gets their one, all left up to the already lit Assured. Spray out, and it's going to be the Alda to win it out as MSU goes up 5-2.
No, that's not the start that they wanted, and they got so close again there, Binks. And that's the theme of the night here for MKE, is so close, yet so far. And in that case, just not able to rise to the challenge.
Yeah,
well,
it's tough to see.
It's tough. I mean, and the downside, you know, the unfortunate side is MKE is not playing particularly bad.
They aren't.
Right? They did great right there. They evened up after a really rough start. that shows some, very solid mental fortitude. I mean,
Hmm.
you hate to see a team get hit with a, headshot spawn peak around, first 10 seconds of the game. And they did a good job of kind of stepping back up to the plate, and
Attackers
then they
need to
just,
locate and
the
defuse
closure
bombs.
was what they were missing. They couldn't close, and we know they have the potential to do it. I mean, look at the last two rounds, the two rounds that they won. They looked absolutely on fire in
Yeah.
those rounds, and they can't seem to find that energy again. So, unfortunate for them. Again, I will say it hasn't run away from them completely yet, but you do have this sort of sinking sensation in your gut if you're on the MKE side, that the momentum is firmly sitting in the side of Murray State.
But credit where credit is due. A headshot spawn peak with the pea shooter known as the
10
MPX.
seconds remaining.
That is a very impressive feat to accomplish. So
5 seconds
I will
to
give a
insertion.
little bit of respect there, as I know if I died to that, I wouldn't be the happiest
Attackers are
camper.
moving out to locate a bomb and
Um,
defuse it.
But I think I'd be able to get away knowing that, okay, I guess I was close enough. It could have been a lot worse, and could have died to a worse weapon. It just shows that there's a level of skill that went along with it. But I will digress to covering the other sides of this round, as I think the player to watch in the power play could be Curiosity once again on the roam, switching from the Alibi over to the Mozzie. So same sort of high fire rate primary weapon with a smaller magazine.
A smaller magazine. Hey, bullets are important. You run out of bullets, you run out of bullets, especially
Capacity
now. Wait, did you
counts.
talk about the change? Did you talk about the change yet?
Which change?
The reload thing. Did we cover that?
We've alluded to it.
Oh yeah. So now,
No time like
by
the
the
present.
way,
Go for it. Send it.
I don't want to describe this wrong, so you can correct me if I need to. But now, if you're reloading your gun and you stop mid reload, you will just drop the magazine.
The mag
So you
drop
will
mechanic.
not have it. Yeah, you have no bullets. You only have one bullet in the mag, basically, if you've got the right kind of closed breech gun. So you literally cannot interrupt reloads. And Roundy lining up on Danny Destructo there for a second. I thought we were about half a second away from disaster. But yeah, you can no longer kind of do reload interrupts, which is actually kind of a big change and will, I think, genuinely affect the way certain things are played.
Yeah, you're gonna have to really
Frag
be
grenade
cautious
right there.
of your reloads. Nade will be cooked out towards astronomy, and thank you, Corvic. You described that perfect, and we can really dive deep into the implications and how we've already seen it affect this matchup in the little lull that we have between the rounds, because we already have our first mini war going on that could decide the fate, as we're gonna have a whole bunch of mini EMPs being set up. The bandit charge is going to be thrown, and it looks like it's still going to go off, and the celebration charge will do its job. Roundy going to find ASIM able to find Danny Destructor, so a little bit of a trade out there, evening out of the 3v4, favoring the defenders of Murray State. Make that a 4v2 as Travis finds his Sharkbait, going to find their respective frag onto Eggnog. That was the bandit. So Assured, sitting inside the master bedroom, is going to be assisted by Sharkbait, also coming from the same angle. Oatmeal Boy with a great headshot onto the ace, and now it's all left up to the Dokebi of Sharkbait, looking to find 3 defenders. They have to isolate the one here, and that's going to be the most important part. If they are able to find that, they'll then have to contend with getting that case down. If they're going to do that, they have to contend with the C4, and they'll opt to go all the way for the C4 first, make their way down below, and it's going to be Travis to clean up on that frag as Murray State goes on to match point.
Oh man. Yeah, you can see that disaster boiling up. I was like, oh god, here we go. You don't want to see it, but you know it's coming. Nothing you
All
can
right.
do about it.
There is one point that I want to talk about quickly on the first match when we saw a Meister running around with a bailiff. If you're wondering, why is he running around with the bailiff? I feel like it'd still be better to have his Alda out. I'm willing to bet you that there was a reload cancel when he did not mean to, when he was ADSing, and Meister was stuck with 1 bullet left in that LMG, because now you cannot spray Maestro, reload quickly when you have a chance. If you feel like you're going to get caught out, it completely changes the way you think. You hear that reload sound, you're not going to have someone spraying da, 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 da. No, they are stuck. Their mag is going to be on the floor, and they only have 1 shot to hit you in the head. And we're going to see some, I think we'll get some pretty cool clips and a lot of hype moments when someone reload cancels and hits the 1 bullet headshot. But until then, it's going to be a very big adaptation period, as you're not allowed to panic. It's stay calm and reload on. And if you hear a reload, you're rushing it. As far as main people we've seen impacted from that today, that small magazine where you're going to try to reload and then cancel, you have to stick it out. And it also heavily impacts that if you shoot all the way into that last bullet, that's always going to be a longer reload time, and you have to take that into consideration.
5 seconds to insertion.
Right. Yeah, you do have to take it into consideration. And, it's good, I think, for NKE that this is the bomb site that they're going to now. It's a tertiary site. Theoretically, this should be the hardest one for Murray State to defend. You've got a lot of vertical tools to work with here. Sharkbait, Hazer on the sledge. You've got Danny Destructo coming in on the Iana. That's a lot of frag grenades, right? A lot of explosions that you can put into a very concentrated area. The key here, I think, will be not losing any of them too early in this match and, getting the right pieces in the right places, which I will admit, I feel like that's been one of the more consistent issues that the MKE side has had here tonight. And already you're seeing a bit of a shadow of it because Hazer's on the low ground. And despite this vertical util that you have available, why are you sending Hazer in on a route, looking up towards kitchen stairs? You need him on the top deck where you can really bring that hammer to bear and start blowing some holes in these ceilings.
Yeah, I like it. Destruction from up above is probably one of the craziest things and probably one of the most overwhelming things you can have in Rainbow Six. And that Goyo fire canister, gas canister, will also be destroyed in the process. Proximity mine being triggered by the attackers. And is this an angle all the way down Oatmeal? Boy, I've never seen this one before, spraying out, and that's probably why I've never seen it. It will not work out for the Lonesome Rook playing with the shotgun down below. And there's going to be a can opener placed onto a floor. I'm sorry, Fuse, that is not a hatch. It will open up a very clean hole to look down through. 3v5 favoring the disadvantaged attackers. Murray State also looking to put this one to bed and be able to go to sleep nice and early, but Danny Destructo has something to say about that as they take out Ignoc, all of them to Curiosity and Asim, two of the highest fragging players, but it might not matter as Assured finds the kill onto Curiosity. Asim has their way into sight, spring around, not able to find the sledge, able to find the first frag, they're going to have to go for a full reload, gets it off properly. Goyo canister does ensure that there's not going to be a push from the side, but all the way from prep, it's going to be a nice long angle and a round secured from MKE, their first round on the attacking side.
Well, I did say tertiary site, right? Like that was a good site for them to do that on. So they'll be able to hold on for one more round, but I think it's hard to say whether or not that's enough for them to kind of put this one to bed, right? Like or not put this one to bed, wrong term. For them to be able to keep this alive, I guess would be the much better way of looking at it, right? Now I just don't know that they can do that. I don't know that they can find the ability to win on one of these primary bomb sites. Now, I will say here, Banks, if they come in here and they push through this one, I will change my opinion entirely. Because if you can now, with your back against the wall, win AVG,
yeah,
yes, that's great. Like that's some real good stuff.
Well, we've seen this site played many different ways. Last time it was very close. We've seen a lot of very close planes and games. I want to see the Gone 6 selected from MKE at least a couple times. From a few of these operators rather than the secondary, because that will really help them to take control of sites and really dismantle this Maestro setup that really hurt them last round, because you weren't able to properly use the nade. And if they don't have Sharkbait spawn peak, this is going to be a very different round. In 5, 4, 3, no spawn peak. Awesome. That's great to see. And as far as pushes go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the southern side. Don't know how much I like that. I prefer to see a big range and try to split the defenders' resources, try to bait out a little bit of their utility early on. And I don't know if I missed a memo, but the Maestro shotgun seems to be one of the big blaring picks from here.
It's a big player. I do kind of wonder if that's related to that reload animation. I think we were actually our observer. I think
No,
we were
because
talking
that
about that.
it's not like most shotguns. Yes, that reload cancel won't count. This is a
No,
shotgun
it's
that is
the
still a
Alda.
magazine.
The Alda reload canceled. Belt fed
Oh
machine.
yeah.
Those are really badly impacted. I think our observer was talking about that a little bit earlier. So
hmm
maybe that's why we're seeing the AA-12 come out. It's a wild choice. I agree. You don't see it very often. It's a pure meme. Oh my good
Wow.
lord.
Good night.
Assured and Roundy both down and out in a match point situation. That must have been one heck of a frag or of a nitro cell. Where
They
did
don't
that
have the
even
info.
come from?
It could have been a pre-placed, but the problem is they don't have
No.
point notifications on, so these two players could easily be revived. But yes, they go down to 20 health. At that point, it's like I said, where you see how much health they have here compared to that tiny bit of HP if they had not been down, but instead lit up to the tiniest sliver of HP. So we'll see what comes of that. They're trying to narrow out this roam, and I think if you're Murray State, turtling back to site right now is your best bet and holding on for dear life, because that's a minute to go. Travis is going to even out the man count, and that's not even onto one of the injured players, as Roundy and Assured are still alive. Hazard is able to secure man advantage as they take out Travis. But look at this, top frag of ASIM is still on the board. That is going to be very scary. But don't worry, Assured has been able to maintain top frag status from their team, especially on that ace roll. So you can count on them to get their job done. But 35 seconds to go. This plant is going to be absolutely crucial. Shots from the evil eye. It has been hacked. You know exactly what's going on. ASIM is going to get lit up all up to a sliver of HP, but they'll take out one of their counterparts on the sledge. Assured still alive, looking to get those Selma breaching charges on the wall. Spray huge kills in the way of Murray State, and they're going to win that one out. A huge play from Opium Boy. There's 1 and 2, and that's all for you as that closes out our Rainbow Six Siege night.
We talked about it too. We talked about the shotgun. It was Chekhov's gun, the literal example right there. We talked about the AA-12, and of course, at the end, it had to be the auto shotty that came and closed the match down. And I mean, look at AmSim, 13 kills on the round. That's a spectacular performance there. Winning those early battles against roamers, by the way, was so important for the successes that this team, with MSU team, was having when they were on the attack. Like, really, really messed up the defensive setups that were being brought out by MKE. Rough night for the MKE guys, Banks. I mean, I don't think there's much more that can really be said about it. Hopefully, though, they can find some sort of value, some sort of learning in this whole experience. Maybe update their strategies a little bit. Maybe learn to be a little bit more responsive on their defenses. I think that's something that would benefit them greatly.
Yeah, I want to go and diagnose a little bit of the stuff that MSU is doing. Really good connection to droning, and they really had a great way of being able to constantly have good awareness of where their opponents were. We saw that through their cam usage, through the fact that the Ayana was throwing nades up through the ground and just having an absolute massive impact on the site when they were getting zero pressure. And we saw that there were a few times where MKE, I'm not going to forget that frost shot, and my headset has now cut out. I need to fix this cord. It's really messing with me tonight. There, I can hear you slightly.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think the Intel game was 100% going the way of the MSU team as well. And Murray State, I think they knew that and they took advantage of that as much as possible in those rounds to secure their W's, right? And I felt like it became very pertinent, especially at those later stages on Villa in particular. And then there were times on Oregon as well. But it's a shame that MKE was not able to kind of equal the closeness of the performance that they had on that Oregon map, though it certainly shows that they have some potential for the future.
Yeah, really looking to see how these teams continue to develop. As it is still relatively early in the season, there's still a lot more to be made. There's been 4 matches total played before this week. So I think this was match number 5, as this is week 5, and the teams have gotten a bye. Keep working, as I'd like to see both these teams progress into playoffs because they have great potential. But Corbeck, on that note, I think that is it for us. I have been Binks, joined by wonderful Corbeck. You can see our ats down below if you want to drop a follow, or if you're one of the teams looking for a little bit more information or insight onto the match, we are happy to help out with that. But we had Michael Martinez doing a great job on production, as well as Unnamed, really making our jobs very easy tonight on knowing exactly what to talk about. But stay safe, everyone, and have a wonderful night.
Welcome back, everyone, to the NECC Highlighted. My name is Orbital, your host once again, as we are now reaching the midway point of the season. We are now through week number 4 as teams start buckling down and making sure they lock in their wins as well as preventing losses. Let's go ahead and go over some of the major highlights this week throughout the games.
Or they're just going to tumble forward, and they're not going to be able to have a time spamming through, but it's just
Oh my gosh! Oh!
3K, one more, they have to ping it, and Corvex finishes them off.
With aggressive with it, hold these corners, and they're gonna have to.
Earl's looking to aggress as quick as they can. A-Smith will wait for them.
Oh!
The stinger for 2. Apparently not nerfed enough.
Not to be the case. They hold this position. Valkyrie running on to site with Saga with the Marshall finds too. This attack is thwarted. A no scope from the recon arrow. Jurassic taking a bit of damage. The singular shot from the sheriff doesn't land anything. K with a beautiful double on the shot to make a 3.
Time is of the essence, and that could be a major problem forthcoming. Stepbro to stick this diffuser gets caught out because of it, and not enough coverage being made by Sonar. Sonar now stuck in a 1v1, swings to Roundy, gets them tagged, has to pull out the pistol, but can't find the kill!
It's trying to measure which you can take as Aqua finds another Angel, goes down by way of a headshot. Kinesis, though, has a retaliatory strike, and this is the person you want to have alive, daring something to come through. You might see just a peek of a rifle, and that's going to be the shot. No way. Kinesis, the clutch!
Oh, you would have loved LMG
Oh,
meta. You
yes,
really would have.
I did.
Oh my god, 2 kills for Maze.
Okay. Kill here for Ugg. Feeling good right now. Wants to find one more and spraying down his maze. He put down.
This plant go off. Oh,
wait a minute.
Okay.
It's gonna walk on in. Ult's available for practically everyone. Kiko Buff gonna go in first.
Cyclone going to be used, though. There's Toastros looking for a fantastic Chris set. Bubby's going to do this. That World Ender going to be used as well. Second Cyclone pop. It's Azazriel picks up the first one. The Shadow Surge not going to be able to land, though, as Hatterson is trying to stay alive, and he does!
It is going to make holding these waves incredibly easy with the Time Winder, able to take out most of those minions, but oh my god. What was that damage? My man just pressed Q and deleted St.
Oh, but look at that damage.
The DCR is looking to do the same. The repel to make sure he doesn't get put in the baby cage.
Because as you mentioned, overall, that's the thing you kind of haven't talked about. Also, hold on. Shotgun fits 60.
Wait. Listen, Colorcaster, gotta wait a little bit. Draws out and away. Regretful Angel wants to go in. Flashes in and is
from Vermilion. 3 of them just want to continue to fight in this small room. Here comes the Shatter. It finds 3 already. 2 taken out. The 3rd one running for their life.
You can just go aggro and try and stop them before they can get in.
Yeah, but Rayfos here popping out the minefield. Immediately finds 3 kills off it. Looking for a 4th here. Trying just to punch Surumachi to death here.
That shot does bring off the backboard. Not quite go through, though. Hard to knock. What a pre-jump read.
For Mizu Club A, and they're yet to get it clicking as it stands. Lovely pinch from Colin, and that's going to set up AJ beautifully.
Yellow as Dr. BK gets a nice 50 there to keep it in offensive pressure here for Buffalo.
No way.
Genetics.
Of course, with all the highlights, there are some funnier moments that tend to happen, and this week was no exception. Here are the misclicks of week number 4.
This attack is pushing for the
Frankie.
Bulls. Wow, they've got him with a swarm grenade, and goodbye.
What?
I think they're in surplus for this part. Speaking of it,
oh no! It's on camera! Oh no. Oh god.
It was looking a little bit closer beforehand as Hazardous was getting some of those great trades in solo.
I'm in danger.
Kills. Is it I think?
Right now, go to lane, because he is extremely low as he's gonna keep on this. DCR is up in the area. Maybe is he gonna execute? Is he about to execute?
I'm so confused.
I love this. Yes!
And that concludes the first half of the season. It's been a thrilling first half, and of course, the second half should be no different. We're excited to see what teams will make it into playoffs and which teams will unfortunately be sent home. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's NECC Highlighted.